Okay. Any other questions, guys? I promise I don't have anything else.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity and taking the time to teach us through these 14 days and giving us the live feedback. And I know it's helped all of us. And I've seen Caleb and like Jose and some other people, Tammy and whatnot, and
Hmm.
all learn from you. And I think that it's a really great thing that you're doing. So I
Thank
just
you.
want to say thank you. And then I got to catch you afterwards.
Okay. Well, if you want to just stay on, I'll just stay on with you. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. This is an honor. So I'll just tell you the story quickly because I don't think I've actually told you this part. So many of you know my story. I've told you parts of it that, I was EMT intermediate, went to paramedic school, was a level 2 instructor, level 3 instructor, taught paramedic school, became a certified flight paramedic, went to medical school. Now I'm finishing my training to go on to be an ER doctor. And um, in 2022, wow, that's almost 4 years ago. So in 2022, that's when I met my mentor. I was studying for my medical exams for my first boards, and I would meet a gentleman named Dr. Francis. You may have heard that part. So Dr. Francis, this Nigerian doctor, uh, med ped, so internal medicine pediatrics. And my very first day meeting with him, so I ended up signing up for coaching with him. um, he had this 5 week program, and so he was doing this thing. And my very first day, I was blown away. The way he was making connections, like he would teach me things like everything's about getting blood flow to the brain. We do chest compressions. It's not about the heart, it's about the brain. And then I took what I learned from him and I just kept working it through my own brain. And that's how I came up with like oxygenation, ventilation, perfusion, and stuff like that. Or that's how I would end up coming up with the heart pumps blood through vessels unless it's blocked. And, I kept just seeing these patterns. Well, Dr. Francis taught me to think in patterns, and it totally changed my life. It was like suddenly I could see things that I never saw before. It was like going into a room and the room was lit. And suddenly like learning just became fun. Some of you may have gotten to a point where it's like, man, this just feels exhausting. Like you're not having fun anymore. But you should be having fun. And in the right environment, learning can be a lot of fun. So after that, after I finished that whole process, I ended up being under him for 10 weeks straight. We would meet 6:30 in the morning and go to about 4 or 5 in the evening every day for 10 weeks. But my knowledge went through the roof. Well, then fast forward, I started doing some contracting, doing traveling all over the country, doing contracts. And then I ended up in Chicago. And one day I was sitting in my hotel room here in Chicago and um, looking out the window. I remember it was snowing that particular day. And I was just frustrated because other people had started telling me, I've been teaching for 20 years. But other people had told me, even though I was already teaching, I didn't think it was like anything special. Other people said to me, Joshua, your gift is teaching. And I'm like, but sometimes when you're the one that's doing it, it doesn't seem like anything special, right? Like other people recognize your gift, but sometimes you don't recognize your own gift. And so I was in my hotel room just frustrated because I was just going through the motions. I was just working all these hours and working, working, working. So I'm sitting in my hotel room one night and I'm watching a sermon, and this pastor, Pastor Mike Todd from Oklahoma, I just happened to see this video on YouTube. He was talking about the name of it was Money Follows Mastery. And he says, if you want your life to change, if you want your income to change, you got to be a master of something. So you got to put in the time and you got to be a master of something. And he literally started naming things that people do. He's like, so if you braid hair, braid hair. If you cook food, cook food. If you write books, write books. And he starts rattling off a list. And I literally said this. I was like, I actually said this out loud. I said, God, make this man say, if you teach, then teach. And then I'll know you're talking to me. And so I pressed play, and the next words out of his mouth was, and if you teach, teach. I was like, okay, I hear you. so, so I got up, and then so that was March of 2023, and it would take me, I just dealt with fear. A lot of times we say we have anxiety. It's just that we're focused on the outcome we don't want instead of focusing on the outcome we do want, and just literally changing that changes your whole life. So I would go ahead and start this company, Level Up Medic, in July of 2023. And then, obviously there have been lots of challenges along the way and stuff like that. And then I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to go all in on this. And so I did. Because at first I was still doing traveling and I was trying to run a business, and then that became a lot. So what ended up happening is I ended up in 2024. I worked a shift. I worked a 24-hour shift. I had been awake for 28 straight hours. I came home after being awake for 28 straight hours. This is November 2024, the Friday before Thanksgiving. And I went to sleep. And so I've never actually shared this publicly. So I went to sleep. And about 3 hours later, I woke up. I was suddenly awakened with the worst pain in my life. And I knew something was wrong. I've been in healthcare for about I've been in healthcare for over 2 decades. I've been in EMS for about 18 years. I knew something was wrong. I knew something wasn't right. I didn't know what was wrong, but my heart was pounding, like pounding, pounding. And I I went to go get my phone, and the phone was dead. I'm like, oh my God. So I just started panicking. So finally, I charged the phone. I run to the restroom, wash my hands. It charges up to 2%, long enough for me to call 911. They're like, sir, 911, what's your emergency? I tell them my name. I'm like, hey, I'm a paramedic. I'm a flight paramedic. I've got the worst pain in my life. And they're like, okay, stay calm and all of this. Anyway, EMS ended up coming, and it was the weirdest thing. I remember, so I had to go by ambulance. I remember when the paramedic, her name is Emily, when she called it in on the radio, she's like, "Be advised, we have an educated professional." I'm not even sure why she said that. I just thought it was funny that's what she gave in her radio report. Be advised, we have an educated professional. What happened was my heart rate was 190, then it went to 200, then it went to 220. My heart pounded out of my chest for like 2 hours. I was in AFib with AVR. I had just worked myself to exhaustion. And then I had uncontrolled hypertension, and I just didn't do anything about it. I just refused to take any medicines. And then I was like, oh, that was a wake up call. My heart rate was 100. Like I said, it went 190, then 200, then 220. And I knew it was real when she put pads on my chest. So they did a 12 lead. There was no STEMI or anything. She put the pads on my chest, and I was like, hold on. Can we talk? can we just do something different? I ended up getting a Denison. It's the weirdest, wickedest feeling in your life. This stuff about this feeling of impending doom, I don't know if you've ever been there, but when you feel like you're about to die, it's very real. So when your patient says they feel like they're about to die, take it seriously. And it was the scariest day of my life. It was the day that I thought would be the last day of my life. And man, so all I could do was literally the only thing I could say in the ambulance, the only word I could manage to get out was Jesus. So that's what I said. I remember I said, hey, can we pray? I did say, can we pray? And Emily, she was like, yeah, you want me to pray? I was like, no, I got it. Because I need this one to get answered right now. So, and I don't know if yours is going to get answered. So anyway, next thing I know, I get to the hospital, and they just kind of converge on me. I knew something was wrong when I look up and I've got 9 drips running suddenly. Meanwhile, my heart is still now, I mean, it came down from 220, but it's still like 200. And like I said, this went on for 2 hours. Finally, the cardiologist, I mean, he came in right away. And he says, "Sir, we got to take you to the operating room right now. You've got to be shocked." And so I get whisked off to the operating room. There again, I'm going down the hallway. They put the little hat on my, they put the little thing on my head, take me into the operating room. And now, people are standing over me. And I'm like, this, I'm used to being the patient. I have shocked many people. When you are the patient, it's different. And there again, so I'm on the table now. And there again, I was like, I actually said out loud, I said, "Jesus, I'm not ready." I started bargaining. I'm like, if you'll just let me, if you'll just let me get through another day, if you want me to teach the people, I'll teach them, whatever you need me to do. But you got to stop this. So that's what happened. And that was my commitment, that I would help anybody that I could help going forward. And so my commitment is that I want you to be the absolute best. I want you to be great at what you do. I don't want you to just be a paramedic or just pass a test. I want you to care. I want you to, when you show up every day, I want you to show up just knowing that you've done the work, you've put in the time. And when patients get you, they're getting the absolute best. And so to the extent that I'm able to help you along that way and be some small part of your journey, I'm honored. So thank you for trusting me, and thank you for just hopping on the train with me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Joshua.
Yes, sir. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
All right.
again.
Well, you guys say that
Thank
again.
you so much. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You're certainly welcome. You all have an amazing night.
You too.
Josh, thank you.